Some devils. J-Dog back to answer some more goddamn questions. But before we get to questions, man, we got a couple more bangers that just arrived that we got to go over. J-Dog figured he'd show you his fucking copies. You know how J-Dog, he doesn't really show you, I don't pull the sales pitches with you shit, guys, man. I don't like, hey, let me just, what came in, what we got to fucking sell. I'll just show you from time to time things that I personally purchased. But the one I'm going to show you, the Morgue CD, I'm excited about because I was the one that set it up. I think Max contacted me because of the YouTube channel, actually. So this would be the first one that came out because of the YouTube channel. If it was that, it was either that or it was around the time. Because I know Max orders from us. He's back in France. Cougar, the other guy, he still lives here in Ohio. I see him from time to time at shows. I mean, he doesn't, I doubt he remembers me as a teenager or whatever. So I've never gone up and said hello to him or anything in recent times. I mean, not that he gives a flying fuck who I am. But and I haven't seen them since this came out. But anyways, my main thing that we're waiting for is the LPs, which, as we know, this fucking world sucks shit, and vinyl turnaround times are dog shit and a half. But in the meantime, we repressed the CD. So it came out originally on Bladed Records, Brian Baxter's label, in the early 2000s. I think 2000, 2001, probably even says on here, it's originally recorded. After recording date, it probably came out shortly after that. Did he put the recording date in there? No, 99. Yeah. So 1999 is when it was recorded. So you figure 2000, 2001 by the time it officially came out, and that was around the time I got this. But it's never been on vinyl, so it is at press. And when's it gonna be done? Who the fuck knows? I'm sure we got at least. I mean, shit, it's been submitted for quite some time ago. So I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, something like that. Anyways, CDs are fucking in by the band Morgue from France. There's like 12 Morgues out there. And they drastically changed after this record, too. So what I liked was their Bone Crunch EP and then this full-length Art Gore. Now, this is the brutal, sick shit, bro. For any of the fucking devils watching that, if you're the black metal guy and you only like Vlad Tepes' Mutilation, Satanic War Master, and only black metal, well, then just skip ahead a little bit more because you're not going to like this fucking shit at all. But if you like heavy, brutal shit, back before it got really fucking trendy, it's got a bunch of photos and shit like that in there from the early days, which is funny as fuck if we were in there, which I doubt. Because I know I got my picture with this guy, actually, was Jean Paul, the drummer. I have a photo with him. He was the one we talked to the most back in the day, me, Eric, and Chase, which I don't know if he moved back to France. I never even asked Max. I think he did. I think just Cougar stayed over here because he got married. We talked to Jean Paul the most. Again, like I said, the drummer, just because he spoke the most English. Because they were staying here in Ohio for a while. They're living right around Brian's shop or in Brian's shop around what the whole deal was. And I guess they had a falling out. Like Max and Brian don't like each other. I don't even know the stories behind that. You know me, guys. I don't really get into drama or all the girl shit, so I didn't really ask. I guess if I really want to know, I can ask them, but I never really cared. So, like, I don't know if Brian likes Cougar or not because he lives here in, like I said, Ohio, and I see him time to time. So I have no idea. But there was that falling out. But like I was saying, like in the early 2000s, a lot of the brutal shit, you know, Brian's Death Fest, and I just think the really ultra brutal, what I call third generation death metal, the Devourments, the Deeds of Flesh, the fucking Dying Fetus wannabes, Aborted just starting, bands like Morgue, Last Days of Humanity putting out their first, second record on times, Devourment, Molesting the Decapitated came out that time, all those corpse gristle bands like Prophecy, Centauri, bands like Mortal Decay coming out, all those bands were on that era. There was kind of a little bit of a it was the generation I got to see, as opposed to like the old devils, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was around when Possessed did their demo, and I got the Death demos, like Don says, and shit like that. It's like, oh, fuck, well, good for you. You know what I mean? I wasn't around at that time, so I missed that scene. So I kind of caught this tail end. It was cool. But Morgue was another band in that scene at that time. And like I keep trying to get to, is right around when Toxic Holocaust came out and thrash was kind of coming back. I didn't jump on the thrash trend by any means. As a matter of fact, most of it I thought it was fucking ridiculous, like Merciless Death, Avenger of Blood, bringing back the white high tops. But anyways, just right around that area, it's like this brutal shit, stuff like this, it was getting kind of carried away and just, just repetitive and ridiculous to where bands either weren't coming up with nothing new. Again, like from the early scene, like I was saying, the bands I didn't mention, Broadquin, Disgorge California, Disgorge Mexico, Disavowed, fucking Pyaemia. Just there was tons of great bands in that 99 to like 2002 range. But then 2003, 2004, 2005, I mean, there was still, a gem that would come out here and there. But for the most part, it was just everybody copying each other, or it was still had some original character, or you'd get it, the triggers would be horrendous fucking ass, or you're like, okay, this band does kind of have a sound of their own. Brutality. I was like, but literally all their songs sound exactly the same. Discord, She Like Gutted, like I said, that was kind of like the my maximum I would accept, to where I'm like, these songs sound the fucking same for the most part, that I'm willing to accept and tolerate. But so other bands that were kind of more unique sounding, so you just got one long song. So that's kind of why even then, and that's when it's just ironically enough too, I was stumbling across the Sadistic Intents, the Disasters, the Toxic Holocausts, the Bewitched, the fucking Sabat from Japan. That's when I discovered them, stuff like that. That scene, you know what I mean? Hell, even Nunslaughter on that. I think I heard Nunslaughter before, but as far as got into them maybe right before them, they were probably the first band, but in that early 2000s. As I was 15 or 16 when I officially bought something by Nunslaughter for my actual collection. So Morgue was that early 2000s. You know what I mean? Fucking great shit. They were of that third generation, early brutal fucking death scene before it got fucking just repetitive as fucking or ridiculous. So highly recommend that. That's a fucking J-Dog Open the Wallet approved. And we just got a restock of these in, which I didn't get the LP version of. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to show the devils this, because I brought them up on the channel. Somebody asked me about them, and I have just the CD. I told you I have the Chinese pressing, that chubby disc. And on I'm pretty sure it's Area Death. He did that like Devastation Chicago. But a vinyl version, it has kind of like, this will have everything you need, in my opinion, because like what I have, the CD just kind of has all the live bullshit on there. This is just the fucking demos. The Abomination demo from '87 all the way to their 1991 demo. This is all the best stuff. That's by the band Brutality. And honestly, when I got the albums, I didn't even like them. I'm just like, all the character and just the catchiness and awesomeness were on these fucking demos. When they did their albums, I'm like, it's just kind of like generic early 90s death metal that wants to sound like death and just kind of benediction and stuff. I was like, oh, is there any bands that sound like this and your songs don't have that punch? Maybe it was just the production. As opposed to these like songs like my specific favorite songs are Lust for Sex and World War III. Fucking phenomenal. But this was the LP version. And like I said, we got them a few months ago and they sold out before I got mine. And what I was really happy is there's a black vinyl and there's a white vinyl. Those are the only two I know of, because that's all I got. I'm assuming there's not a third color. I thought for sure if we'd get a restock, I want to get a white vinyl. But we even got some white vinyls. So we got some more black vinyls and white vinyls. And original fucking cover art, killer art for it too. And it's got, tons of photos and shit from there, which I always like. It's metal history, you know what I mean? So if you're one of the older devils, even the younger devils, if you want to know where shit started off, the old school, the 80s, because this is like death thrash. This is the kind of stuff you need. Like I keep telling you guys, what I mostly listen to is literally stuff like this. Majority of the time of the stuff that I put on my player, other than, like I said, favorite bands, whether it be Mortician or Possessed or fucking Enthroned, we got a reissue stock of those LPs. I was really spending those. Every time the first 5 Enthroned albums, that's some of the black metal I absolutely fucking love. Some of my favorite black metal of all time, if not my favorite black metal. Outside of that, it's, like I said, it was the Devastation Chicago's, the Fatal Disc, the Grave demos, things like that. And shit, bands like this, Brutality demos. Like I said, I've always had these demos on CD, but I've never seen them come out on vinyl until this came. This has got to be the only vinyl version that exists of these demos. And this is the one I'm picking up, is a white vinyl, double LP. So if you have this, then in my opinion, you have everything that you need. Unless you're a Brutality fan of the albums. I mean, don't get me wrong. And if there's a diehard Brutality fan watching, they're like, dude, the albums are awesome. And I was like, it's not trash. It's just when I heard the demos first. Not because I'm Mr. Old School or enough like that. That was just the first thing that landed in my lap. That's all. And then when I heard the albums, I'm like, it literally lost all its character. I was like, it's just trying to sound like, from what I remember, the albums, they were trying to kind of sound like Death and Benediction. Those were the first two bands when I spent so long, and I just remember it just being really tame. All the energy and character that were on those demos was just gone in the albums. I'm like, this fucking sucks. So, Highly recommend it. That's 2 fucking paws up from the fucking dog. Those are shit that like Jake, like literally I bust out the wall and I'll buy. Because a lot of stuff, like I told you guys, like listen to it, it's background, but I was like, I wouldn't buy it. Though these I showed that shit that J Dog personally would buy, is buying, put in the goddamn collection. The collection room you see on camera. And, I do the videos in my fucking house. Anywho, let's get to the goddamn questions. And we're going over questions. I pulled it up in advance. The goddamn video. Macabre and the goofy ass vocals. Deicide Cell Title versus Morbid Angel Ultra Madness. Oh, this ought to be good. And I already scrolled to the first question mark, which is like 5 from the bottom. Sewer Vomit. Question mark, question for the dog. Your thoughts on front men not writing their own lyrics? I noticed Corpsegrinder isn't credited for much or any lyrics or arrangements, which is okay by me. But Evisceration Plague sounded like he was reading. You know what? That's always kind of was something that in my mind or crossed my mind or I thought about it without even knowing how to put into words. So I guess I'll try to word it on camera so my thoughts are officially out there. Not that anybody gives a fuck, but how do I feel about it? I don't feel shitty about it, but it's kind of like weird to me. I feel like the singer should write the lyrics. One, it'd be easier to remember, right? Two, you're the front man, so you're kind of like the guy that's, I don't know, putting on paper what you're going to sing. And three, it's kind of like, let's call it like it is. I mean, I love Corpsegrinder and I love his vocals and his performance, but other than him getting on stage, what the fuck else does he do then? I mean, and obviously sing on the records, you know what I mean? But I mean, so Alex and them doing all the work, I'd be kind of curious who gets the bigger paycheck then. Do they get equal? Because especially now, if you were to get rid of George, I mean, their stock would go down big time. You can't just be like, all right, well, we're getting rid of Corpsegrinder. We're going to have Ross Dolan from Immolation doing fucking vocals. Ross is fucking awesome, but it's like, what the fuck? He's not Cannibal, though. Like, he just wasn't Cannibal. It's not that he's, you know what I mean? Their stock would fucking go down. Now, I know that's what fucking Metal Blade and shit said when Chris Barnes first got rid of him, but when you really do the math, it's so fucking funny. It's like, you realize the band, as far as album-wise, it's been around 4 or 5 years. Didn't Bleeding come out in 1994? Pretty sure Bleeding was 94. First album was 1990. 4 years, 4 albums. That's so fucking yesterday, it wasn't even funny. Like 2018 to 2022 is what 2018 to me feels like it's yesterday. So it seemed like it was this long span. So Chris being out of the band, it's like, they're still kind of a new band. How many albums is George on now? Do they have 13 albums? He's got to be on like 10 albums or close to it. And he's been in the band for fucking, since 96 then? 22 fucking years. Oh no, was 96? 28 years. So way, way longer time. So it's funny, like, so does George get less of a cut, like pay, because he doesn't write jack shit? I mean, at least that's what the booklets say, because I always knew that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I always thought that was like, it's kind of weird he does that. I was like, then, because I believe it's Alex and Paul, the drummer, that they write most of the music too. So it's like, so they're writing the music, they're writing the lyrics. George is doing nothing but going to Target and buying fucking action figures and just gets on stage and goes to the fucking studio when he be. It's like, but if you're to get rid of him, your stock would go down big time because he is the front man. I mean, because let's call it like it is too. Like, even like, well, you saw how easily they replaced Pat O'Brien. Bob Rousey, as cool as he is, they could easily replace him. Alex and Pat and Paul, I think it'd be easier to replace them too, although it'd be kind of a fucking head turn just because they're the only 2 original members. But as far as sound of the band and the look of the band, especially from a live performance, which I'm sure they make a lot of their coin fucking playing live. I'm sure they're not getting off the couch for any less than 10 grand a night. Is that image. And well, Paul theoretically is just hanging out of drums. You can't even fucking see him. So I would think that George would kind of be the hardest guy to replace, but yes, does the least. So doesn't bother me or anything like that. At the end of the day, what the fuck do I care? But it's just, to me, if it is a band, I just think like, if I was the front man, I'd want to write the lyrics too. Again, just for memorability purposes, because I'd have a hard time write it. Two, it's kind of like, well, Alex and fucking Paul, they're writing the goddamn music. So I mean, what the fuck am I doing? I should at least write the lyrics while they're writing the music. So yeah, I think that he probably should, but I don't know. But I would be curious as to fucking how that goes down, just from just being nosy. But I don't think it's like makes things sucks or Corpsegrinder, what a fucking a slouch. None of my business. Then it's just more of a huge fan. I'm just curious. So yeah, that definitely has crossed my mind. Ricky Jones, album battle, Carpathian Forest, Defending the Throne of Evil, 2003 versus Belphegor, Goatreich, Flesh Cult, 2005. I'm going to go with Carpathian Forest. You know what's funny about Carpathian Forest is even myself, I forget to always bring them up, but I think they're one of the most underrated black metal bands of all time. I can't say I own everything by them, but I definitely own 2 or 3 CDs, maybe 3 LPs. Isn't there like a double 7-inch? Gatefold double 7-inch, I own that. So 6 or 7 things. And my review on Carpathian Forest, on like Black Shining Leather, we are going to hell for this. Is that what we were going to hell? Is that what's called? You're going to, I think we are going to hell. I'm drawing a blank on others, but you know what I mean? They're the songs that are good are very good, but it's got some bullshit filler tracks. Like, what is this? Like, why is this on here? Like, you just skip it. Not too many though, 2 or 3 here and there. So, I mean, I know there's, forget which album it is. I do like, and I own it too, where it has, that's where I was getting Illinois. It had like 4 or 5 bullshit tracks. 1 or 2 of them, I guess, were considered songs. The others is just kind of like, I don't know, an intro, outro, just spooky fucking ambience going on. But nonetheless, bullshit. It's like, let's get to the metal, brah, brahs. But when they got to the metal was goddamn really, really good. Belphegor, for me, I owned, I didn't even keep it. I owned the very first album. Is that The Last Supper? Whatever the black and white cover is. I know it was the first one at the time. To me, they were a really solid Black Death band, but didn't do much for me. It was just, that doesn't suck at all. Just didn't do much for me. Just could never had that punch that hit me. But if somebody said this is my favorite band of all time, I could understand why. And I will say this though, I always had a high degree of respect for them, but again, just didn't punch me. So I just did. I eventually sold it, or traded it or whatever the hell it was. It was years ago when I got rid of it. Got it as a teenager. Probably got rid of it when I was like 20, 21. I saw them live with Dark Funeral. I think it was just pre-COVID. I think it was like 2019. In 2018, the latest. That was the first time I seen Belphegor. I think it was Belphegor, Dark Funeral, and Incantation, I think, was the full bill. And I gotta say, Belphegor live, they were fucking phenomenal. Songs sounded better, kind of reminded me of the Chasm. Chasm live was fucking awesome. Get them on disc. But that's what it reminded me of. And they looked cool. Their image was cool as fuck. They looked evil as shit. Just the way it goddamn should be. Now that's fucking evil, goddamn it. Bonus points if you know the fucking reference. You don't, then you ain't watching my fucking channel. Or sleeping while doing it. So yeah, that's my review of them. But I'd have to go with the Carpathian Forest because I don't think, like I said, I don't own everything by Carpathian Forest. I have a feeling that there might have been an album or two that I think is going to be a stinker. However, I've never heard an album that I thought was a stinker. Just stinker parts in some albums. I'm like, that would have cut that part. But their metal songs, very good. And I think they're one of the most underrated black metal bands of all time. They're supposed to play one of these fucking Maryland Death Fest. I don't know if it was the last one or when MDF first got announced. And that was one of the main bands I was like, I would like to see Carpathian Forest. Never seen them before. But I would definitely be into watching them. Joey Reichstein. Hey, J-Dog, question. Are you a fan of the band Blood Coven? Oh, that's cool. Someone bringing up Blood Coven from Akron, Ohio. Dan. I kind of in the category of the Belphegor. I used to own the first album, Dave from Manicore, Void Meditation Cult. He played on it. There's definitely parts I liked on it, and I kind of did like it. The biggest thing that stood off to me that was not keeping my attention is the songs were too long. I think it was 7 songs, and it was like 65 minutes or something like that. Basically, their songs are too goddamn long. After that, I've only heard like one other thing or so. I know Dan's got like he's got like 10 albums or something, but he doesn't really like market it or label it or even work in the underground from what I see or hear. I think he just kind of self-releases in a sense and just whoever kind of knows him gets it. He doesn't really make an effort. Maybe I think he just does it just out of the passion of playing music. So a lot of it I haven't heard. But the one I did know is when they used to play live quite a bit. I think they opened up for that Emperor show when I saw Emperor. Nonetheless, I've seen them several times. Them and Somnus back then used to play all the time. And Somnus, they're another band. Like it was cool. That I liked all the guys: Scott, Steve, Rhea. Those are the only 3 I knew. The drummer and shit was the drummer Dennis or Dan? I met him, but I didn't really know him. But Scott, Steve, and Rihanna, the chick in the band. I wouldn't say I know like best friends or have my phone number because we certainly don't. But I mean, I've talked to them several times. Would they remember me? Probably not. Who the fuck remembers me? But I remember them. They're the ones I talk to. But I was never big on the band themselves, the music. You know, bands like them. They actually has been a. I kind of wish I never actually don't think I ever picked up a Somnus disc, and the Blood Coven I did have, and I think I eventually sold it for kind of like nostalgic purposes. Memory lane. I kind of wish I had them. Now I'm sure I could easily get them. Um, but it's one thing. Let's just say I still have them to this day. I wouldn't get rid of them. Even though it's probably something I would listen to very, very little, just kind of a memory lane. It's because it was during the years I grew up, seeing them live and shit tons, and knowing them as people. It's just kind of like I almost want it for that reason. It's not kind of hard to explain, but we'll get one more quickie in here. God damn it! Since the first 10 minutes was just showing some fucking cool ass shit. God damn it! This should be a quickie because I think the answer is no, but I mean we can leave it to the devils to decide. Go to Toncher. J Dog, has a black metal band ever covered a brutal death metal song like Beharit covering Infecting the Crypts by Suffocation, etc.? You get Realm Reply. That one I can think of. Aegis Raven, yes, many black metal bands have covered death metal bands. Yeah, but I mean, I get where he's coming from. A band like, for example, like even like I brought up earlier, Enthroned, or a band like Marduk. Have they covered a band like Suffocation? Yeah, bands like fucking them, like God Dethroned, they cover Possessed, Satan's Curse. I mean, yeah, they covered a death metal band. Well, yeah, but I kind of is there kind of like an authentic black metal band that covered like a brutal death band? Did a black metal band cover Deeds of Flesh or Dying Fetus or fucking Devourment or something off Tomb of the Mutilated, Mortician, Immolation? I'm throwing those bands out there. Not that I can fucking think of. Yeah, no, I can't think of any. They're like, what's his face? Aegis fucking said tons. I mean, there probably is somebody. I was imagine, especially the newer bands that can, it's a newer, extreme black metal band. And let's say they're started in whatever, last 2 years. It's probably younger guys. And there's a very good chance they like extreme shit. They probably like at least the older, brutal death metal bands. So it is definitely possible to have. But of the bands that I'm been fans of for years and shit like that, whether it be the Dark Funerals, Enthrones, Impieties, Mardukes, um, no, yeah, I can't think of anybody. So yeah, put them in there. Somebody, if there's a fucking black metal band that covered Mortician or like you said, Suffocation, yeah, let me know. I definitely, I can't think of anybody, and I certainly can't say I fucking think I've heard anybody do it. Kind of fucking cool to be honest with you. It might sound kind of neat, right? So put in there, devils. If there's somebody I don't know about, put in there, and I'll fucking YouTube it or try to check it out. You know what I mean? And it's just, if nothing else, informing me and shit. So, anyways, other than that, just put the goddamn questions in the comments. What the fuck you want answered, and I'll get them answered right in the morning. Later, goddamn it.